Welcome to the Half Done Hobbyist. My name's Simon and I'm very happy you've joined me. Now today I'm going to show you how to put your head on a Space Marine. Let's go. If you want to do this yourself, there's several things you'll need. You'll need a resin printer such as an Elegoo Mars or an Anycubic Photon. You'll need resin. I prefer the grey Elegoo stuff. You'll need isopropyl alcohol for cleanup. You'll need microfiber cloths to clean up the printer. You will need snips and a scraper, which tend to come in the 3D printer box. You will need tweezers, quite big ones, so that you can grab your print in the isopropyl alcohol and shake off any uncured resin. You will need a lot of paper towel, and safety wise you will need a mask so you don't breathe in any of that nasty resin. You'll need eye protection so it doesn't splash up, because it can tend to do that. And you will need nitrile gloves, which are the blue medical ones that the NHS use. You can't use latex gloves because the resin will seep through and still contact your skin, so be careful. I've recently been trying out a few face scanning apps, and I saw a video by 3D Printing Nerd using the Bellis 3D app, and it looked really good, so I gave it a whirl. I've always wanted to scan my head and make a Space Marine head out of it. This let me do exactly that. I put on a funny face, a roaring face, and then scanned my face. You turn left, you turn right, you look up, you look down, and then it creates a representation of your head. This worked out better than I could have ever hoped for. I really didn't have to do much work at all. So when I'm exporting it here, you export it for watertight, and you choose HD for the mesh resolution, and export the STL file. Now there is a bit of a caveat. It costs 99p per export, so just bear that in mind. I thought it was 99p for unlimited exports, but it's not. It's one export, unlimited exports per model or per scan, so bear that in mind. After I get the STL file, I move into Chitubox, which is the slicing software for my Elegoo Mars 3D printer. As you can see, the head's massive when it comes in. I rotate it 90 degrees and then I change the X scale to 5mm. This seemed to do the trick. There was a wee bit trial and error. I'm not going to pretend I got it first time. I've printed out a lot of wee small heads. So here I'm just adding supports to the head. Supports hold up little islands so that they print properly. It's quite difficult to explain, but basically you don't want a support poking into somewhere that you have a lot of detail. I've had them in eyelids. There's one in the lip that I'm removing there. So I'm quite happy with where they are. In hindsight, it mangled the ear a bit, so I might try to change the support there. I don't know if it's necessary or not, but it just seemed to make the ear a lot less smooth than it could have been. So after you slice it, you then save your file to your memory card. You put your memory card in the back of your printer. Here I am in my utility room, by the way. Put the USB stick in the back of your printer, turn your printer on, choose the file on your USB stick, and it'll start printing. This is all assuming that you've got a well calibrated resin 3D printer, such as an Elegoo Mars or an Anycubic Photon. Doesn't need to have a big build plate because obviously you're just printing one tiny little head. The good thing about these is you could print a full build plate of heads and it would still take the same amount of time as one. So you could just duplicate your head over and over again and print as many as would fit in the build plate. So the way this works is it lowers into the resin, and then an LCD screen on the bottom cures the resin onto the build plate layer by layer, building up the head. There you go, that's what the first layer looks like. It's quite toxic and smelly, so make sure you've got the lid on, and well ventilated. So I'm just opening my back door so that I can get as much air through as possible. You got to wear protection at all times as well. I'm not wearing gloves here, I'm being a bit naughty, but I'm putting them on now. So that's the print finished. The build plate is raised to the top, and what you need to do now is clean the print off in isopropyl alcohol and then cure it with UV light. So the isopropyl alcohol I use is 91% for the first wash and 70% for the second wash. I've read all sorts of different things online, but this does it for me, so I'm quite happy. Should always try to clean off any excess resin whenever you can. I just use paper towel here. I'll go back later with a microfiber cloth with isopropyl alcohol on it to clean everything properly. And when you get your build plate, your print is stuck fast on it, so you need to use that little yellow scraper to pop it off into the isopropyl alcohol. And then grab it with your tweezers and then give it a good shake around in there. Clean off all of the excess resin. You don't want any of that stuff on your hands, on your skin, definitely not near your eyes. It's nasty stuff. So that was the 91% I just used. Here it's the 70%. There's probably a bit more debris in here from previous prints than there maybe should be, but this method works for me. I know it's probably not the professional method, but it definitely works. So you can see the face taking shape now. It's just a little me. So you need to snip the supports off with your clippers that you get with the printer. And you put your supports down on paper towel, because later on you'll just wrap everything up in that paper towel and chuck it out. You don't want to take any chances. You don't want to reuse too many things. So we've got a little head here. Didn't focus that very well. So make sure you put the head down somewhere that you know where it is. I've put it on this towel and I very nearly wrapped it up and threw it out with the rest of the rubbish. So that wasn't too good. I've taken my gloves off. You need nitrile gloves to make sure that the resin doesn't seep through. Latex gloves just won't cut it. They'll let the resin through to your skin. It's very difficult to get nitrile gloves at the moment because the NHS has first dibs on it. So I've got more blue ones coming, but they're not going to come for about a month or so. So I've had to buy big thick ones that'll get fabric on the back, which aren't ideal. I'm just waiting for my proper ones to come. You do get some with the printer, but they only last a day or so because there's only 3 or 4 pairs and that's only a couple of prints. So you use isopropyl alcohol to clean down all your tools, and then I've popped upstairs and I've got my nail curing sun lamp, and this is just to cure the resin properly because otherwise it's sticky and tacky. So I'm popping the head on a wee bit of blue tack, sticking it in and then cooking it. I only cooked it for about 4 minutes each side. So there you go, glowing a nice blue colour. And that's it done. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn it upside down and cure the bottom of it. Because I want to drill into it, I need to make sure this is all cured. I want to drill into it so that I can put it on a nail for painting. I've drilled out the bottom of the head and I'm going to mount it on the nail, Game of Thrones style, Walking Dead style, Blackadder style. This just makes it a lot easier to paint if you can actually get the nail in there. That's my head ready for priming and then painting. And now I'll show you the finished result, which I'm really happy with. This is a size of the Emperor Marine, which I just painted in about 30 minutes just so I could showcase the head. Now there's the scan on the right hand side and the head on the Marine. I think you'll agree it's a really good likeness. I'm just amazed sometimes when I look at it. It's a bit uncanny when I see a little me sitting on my desk. I'm so happy with it. It came out. I've had this idea for so long, and it came out better than I could ever have hoped for. I'm over the moon. If you're enjoying these videos, like and subscribe, and please leave a comment below if you've got anything to say. Thanks very much. See you in the next one.